Still today, the circles emanate a strange fascination. Stepping into the inner space feels like entering a different world. Wind and weather remain outside of the gates, just as 4,000 years ago. Silence and warmth create a sensual atmosphere. But what kind of rituals did man perform 4,000 years ago at the Woodhenge? That remains one of the great mysteries of archaeology.
Pömmelte is especially important because we can prove the practice of rituals much better here than in Stonehenge or with the Nebra sky disk. According to the finds and their location, it's simple to see and to reconstruct this site as a place of rituals.
This is made possible by the discovery of 29 offering pits in Pömmelte. These pits were always filled in the same sequence over an unprecedented period of 300 years.
The pits were dug inside the trench, and ritual items were symbolically disposed of in the pits, and they could not be further utilized after the ritual use.
The lowest level consisted of broken ceramics, animal bones, millstones, and human skeletons. These deposits were sealed, often with millstones.
And people remembered exactly where the pits had been. And up to 300 years later, somebody returns to the very same spot, redigs the hole, this time less deep, and puts something in the hole, for example, a stone axe or a single human skull. These are deposited at exactly the same spot where 300 years earlier other offerings were deposited.
These deposits were the result of ceremonies whose exact procedures are nearly unknown. But it is obvious that they had to be related to everyday activities, as the many millstones prove that had been found.
The millstone is an object to produce flour from grain. The grain itself is not usable. In order to make bread, it has to be processed.
Thus, the scientists realized that the ceremonies at the Woodhenge were always related to everyday life. The scientists cannot reconstruct how many rituals took place in Pömmelte, but there is definite proof of the ritual destruction of the Woodhenge.
The last thing happening here was the dismantling of the sacred site, which can be imagined as a kind of ritual, symbolic burial. All the wooden posts were pulled out, burned, and the remains were buried in the trenches, where we discovered a thick layer of wood ashes, only explainable with the burning of huge amounts of wood.
About 2050 before Christ, Pömmelte lost its significance. When the Woodhenge was burned down, another large earthwork already existed nearby.